This is the cheapest house in all of Naples. If you guys are not familiar with Naples, it's one of the most expensive housing markets in the entire country. But we're gonna see today if this house is even worth it at all. We're gonna break down all the numbers and we're gonna see at what price does this property even make sense. You're not gonna wanna miss it, so let's get started right now. So we are back here in the office, AKA my bedroom, and we are looking at the comps for this property. So what I want to show you here is that this property, according to our RVM or our system that we use, it gives it a kind of like a Zillow Zestimate. Well, we got a Zestimate too on our software, and it's giving it a value of $307,000. Now, am I going to put all my eggs into that basket and use that number? Absolutely not. I would never do that. But what I am going to do is I'm going to pull up this map here. I'm going to show you guys how I run preliminary comps before I jump into the MLS, because this is a lot quicker to do it this way. So what I do is I click on the map, and you guys can do this with Zillow to some extent as well, and I just zoom out and I start looking for any recent sales or any properties that are on the market right now. And the way I can indicate those is by these little dots, these little blue dots. Sometimes you see a red dot if it's a foreclosure. Sometimes you see yellow squares or yellow dots. Now let's go ahead and start taking a look. This property here is under contract right now at $414,000. It's 1,000 square feet, 1,038 to be exact. And you know what we want to do is we always want to check the inside of the house to see what kind of condition it's in, to see if we can actually use this as a really good comparable. The inside's looks like it's renovated. Yeah, nicely renovated. And this one's going for $414,000. Okay, so keep that in mind. Very important for you guys to remember which comps you're looking at and if they make any sense. Okay, so we've got one comp, but the problem with that comp is it's a pending comp, which means that we don't know how much that property is actually going to close for. We know it's under contract at $414,000 is what it was listed at, but we don't know what the actual seller accepted on that property until it closes. So let's see if we can find any properties here that actually have closed. Now I'm doing this real time with you guys. I could have pulled up all these comps before and just had them bang, bang, bang ready to go, but I wanted to show you guys exactly the steps that I go through. So let's take a look at this one. This one is 1,600 square feet, 3-bed, 2-bath. This one is actually closed. So let's take a look at the condition of this one. At the outside looks like it's been dated a bit. The inside also dated. Everything on the inside is dated. It's in good condition, but I wouldn't say that it's renovated. So just fair condition, this one here. So for $455,000. Okay, let's check out this one here. Again, this one's pending, not closed, but it is kind of going in that direction. So this house is 1,782 square feet, 3-bed, 3-bath. Let's look at the condition. I think it's in very good condition for this price. Pictures look nice. Backyard looks nice. Has a pool. I think we're going to need a pool, so keep that in mind when we factor in expenses. We got to look at the kitchen, guys. We got to look at the kitchen, because we're not seeing the kitchen. Okay, we don't really get an idea. It's okay. It's nice. It's decent. So this one's on the market for $550,000, and it's under contract at the moment. I don't know how many days this thing was on the market for. Let's see, it was listed. It went under contract just a few days ago, just about a week or two ago. It's been on the market for 124 days, so it didn't fly off the market. Okay, so that's good to know. So it's looking like a home in this area that's same square footage as ours, because remember, our house is a very fine house. It's a very, very fine house. This house was originally 1,293 square feet. So even if we renovated it, added square footage, and threw in a pool, we're looking at like 5s and 6s, possibly, right? Let's call it, maybe, just to do numbers, rough numbers, about 600 to 650 if it does sell. Completely renovated, I mean, everything brand new. So let's call it 600, 650. Now let's run those numbers. Let's do the numbers. Let me show you guys how I process these types of transactions. I'm going to pull up my handy dandy calculator that I built out. If you guys want access to this calculator, it is going to be part of the program that I'm putting together, which is going to come all included with a lot of bells and whistles, this being one of them. This thing I put together because I wanted at a blink of an eye to just be able to run numbers on a property. So this is what I'm going to show you right now. We're always going to start with our desired profit. So the desired profit is the first thing we want to look at. So I'm going to run this as a cash deal first, and I'm going to run it as a hard money deal. So if we purchase this home for $275,000, and then we have to put another, I don't know, $200,000 in it, because that's what it sounds like, we should be roughly somewhere around $475,000, right? We want to make at least 10%. I know that a lot of people would say, you know, that doesn't sound like a lot, but 10% is a pretty good amount of money. So let's just say we wanted to make $50,000 on this house, and we can shoot for more, don't get me wrong. We could definitely shoot for more. Let's say we want to make $50,000, and we can play around with this number after we kind of plug in the other numbers. So we want to know, what is the after repair value? So let's use $650,000, right? If this house has a pool, if it's got extra square footage, make it look really, really nice. Now the construction costs, guys, could vary wildly depending on what kind of finishes we use. But let's just say we use average finishes and we try to keep the cost down as much as possible. $200,000 at least, at very least, maybe even closer to $250,000. But we'll worry about that later. Now, next thing we have to plug in is the yearly taxes. And the reason why is because a lot of people don't factor in carrying costs. So let's plug that in right now. Taxes are $2635. We're going to have this house for 12 months before we can get to sell it, just to be very safe, okay? The insurance on this house is going to be a little more expensive than what you would normally pay for insurance, because it's going to be what's called a builder's risk, which covers you in the event that someone there gets hurt, or someone, I don't know, anything happens to the house, obviously, of course, but if somebody tries to sue you while they're working on that job, you're covered. All right, so that's going to be more expensive than normal insurance. So let's go with $4,000 for the year. Okay, let's go with utilities. Obviously, you're going to have utilities on in this house while you own it. Let's say the utilities while you own it are about $600, right? Okay, good. Okay, so try to follow me here, guys. Our insurance, like I mentioned earlier, is going to be $4,000. The purchase closing costs are going to be about $3,500. The closing costs when you resell the property, not when you buy it, but when you resell the property with a real estate agent included, are going to be somewhere around $39,000. The utilities you're going to be paying for while you own this home are going to be somewhere around $600, and the taxes, the property taxes you're going to pay on this property while you own it, $2635, which means that the maximum you could pay on this property in order to make a $50,000 profit is $350. But now let's play around with the numbers a little bit more. Let's say that the house doesn't sell for $650. Let's say it sells for $600,000 to be even safer. And now let's say that the house ends up costing you $250,000 for construction and renovation and repairs, not $2 million. Okay, so now we've messed around with the numbers a little more. We're going to say $600 resale, $250,000 purchase price. That means the most you can pay, and this is if you're buying this cash, is $253,000. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, I'm not going to bore you to death, but I'm going to plug in all the same numbers into our other calculator right next to it that shows us how much we can pay if it's going to be with hard money or private funds, okay? If we're going to be borrowing this money from a private lender. All right, so I plugged in all the numbers to save you guys some time. So what we have here, and I'll just point out the differences, is we have a mortgage. So we have 12 months that we're going to have this mortgage for. So what we're seeing here is that we're going to have $39,000 in mortgage payments if we calculate a 10% interest rate. Remember, this is hard money. This is not bank rates. This is hard money rates. So we're going to see at least a 10% interest rate, maybe a little bit cheaper if you've got experience. Now, the insurance is going to be obviously about $4,000. All right, we have to change that. And that means that our closing costs when we buy, because we're going to have to pay points to the lender, is going to be about $14,800. So that gives us a total with all the other expenses that we would have had normally, as we had with the other situation when it was cash. Our total is going to be much higher because we have lending included and we have expenses for that, okay? So that means that the most we can pay, if we still want to turn a $50,000 profit, the most we can pay is $202,000, all right? This home is currently listed at $275,000. So we either have to, A, purchase it cash and max we can pay is $250,000, or if we're going to go hard money, the most we can pay is $202,000. All right. Okay, so what are my final thoughts and what would I do if I was in this position, if I wanted to purchase this property? Well, great question. You're going to have to hold on for just a little bit longer towards the end of this video. But next, I want to tell you that if you're interested in information just like this, we are putting together a real estate program with optional mentoring if you want us to take a look at deals with you and give you an idea whether the deal makes sense or not. If you're interested in that, we do have early sign up that's going to come with a huge 30% discount once the program is ready. So use the link down below to get early sign up. No commitment, just go ahead and sign up down below and we'll let you know once it's ready. If it makes sense to you, great. Now let's talk about this property. Does it make sense? What would be my next steps? Well, first of all, let me tell you guys a quick story. A long time ago, when I first got started investing in real estate, I didn't know how to run numbers or do any of the stuff that I just showed you. But once I started to get the hang of it, I understood that there was what's called cash flow in deals, right? Cash flow means that even if I don't sell this property as a flip, can I keep it as a rental? You always want to have that as a backup because when you put all your eggs into one basket, maybe that's not going to work out for you. So you need a backup plan. Now, my backup plan would be, what happens if I have to end up renting this property if I can't sell it? Will it cash flow? Will it leave me money in my pocket? And then maybe in a couple years, then I can think about selling it. Is that an option? You always want to look at that. And on this property, I can absolutely rent this property for at least $3,000 a month once it's completely renovated, maybe even $3,500. And would it cash flow for me? Yeah, most likely it would. Even if it cash flowed a few $100s or $500, it's a win, because at the end of the day, real estate always trends up. It doesn't trend down. It sometimes trends sideways for a while, but it never goes down over the long term. So this property to me would be a no-brainer if I can get it in the low 200s, maybe even cheaper, maybe even for land value, depending on how long the seller is willing to hold out. Because if you get this property and you can turn it around for 600 or 650 and maybe now or maybe in the future, God knows, maybe the market will continue up, or maybe it'll just go sideways for a while. If you can get those numbers, then somewhere in the low 200s, I think you'd probably be safe. If you can get in the high 100s, forget about it. It's crazy. You may not get every property accepted, because you may write up an offer, just like if I were to write up an offer on this one, which I'm not. It's too much work. I don't want to get involved in that much work right now. But if you make enough offers, eventually someone is going to accept your offer. It may not be on the first one, second one, the third one, but given enough times that you make offers, eventually someone is going to bite. And if it doesn't have to be through the MLS guys, it could also be directly through the homeowners. It could be at sheriff sales. It could be REOs, real estate owned properties, the ones that have been foreclosed already. It could be in a multitude of different ways. But it's a numbers game. It's a numbers game in real estate. So if you guys are interested in learning more about things like that, guys, give this video a thumbs up. Now, personally, I have no interest in this property. I am definitely going to pass on it. But I will tell you one thing. If the seller was willing to give me seller financing and I didn't have to come up with much money out of my pocket, then I would definitely consider this as a deal. If you guys don't know about seller financing, you want to learn more about it, go ahead and click on this video right here where I explain exactly what seller financing is and how you can benefit from it. So I'll see you guys over there in just a few seconds. Thank you for watching. I love you, and I will see you next time.